Hello and welcome to ActivTrades Weekly Outlook. Investors will be able to breathe a sigh of relief this week as the US debt ceiling negotiations finally came to a result on the 31st of May, with the president likely signing the bill into law before the Monday deadline. In monetary policy news, the trend looks to be heading towards maintaining paused rates this week for Canada and Australia, as they await lags in policy to even out and bring inflation back to acceptable levels. Let's dive in. Germany's trade surplus grew to 16.7 billion euro in March from 16.1 billion in February. As exports have gradually continued to be greater than imports each month lately, the trade surplus was at its highest level since February 2021 last month. However, a slight dip to 15.1 billion euro is forecast for the next round of data on Monday. The ISM Services PMI, which is also expected on Monday, rose to 51.9 in April. This represents the fourth month of expansion in the services sector, and analysts are expecting further growth from May to around 52.1. On Tuesday, the Reserve Bank of Australia will meet on monetary policy. The official cash rate in Australia unexpectedly increased by 25 basis points in May to 3.85%. Borrowing costs have increased to their highest level since April 2012, as the bank has increased rates for the 11th time in the last year, despite market projections of a respite. The RBA made the decision based on a worry that Australia's current inflation rate was still too high at 7% at the time, and the unemployment rate remained low. Even with the most recent CPI sitting at 6.8%, most analysts suggest that the official cash rate will remain stable at 3.85% at this coming meeting. Canada's Ivey Purchasing Managers Index dropped in April compared to the month before. The most recent data suggested that the Canadian economy had grown for 4 months in a row, and if the results of the most recent report on Tuesday are as expected at around 56.5, then this trend will continue. In April this year, China's trade surplus climbed from $49.5 billion to $90.2 billion. When the May figures are released on Wednesday, expectations are for a further rise to $91 billion. Canada's trade balance, which will also be released on Wednesday, showed a surplus in March of 0.97 billion Canadian dollars. April figures are predicted to show a dip in the surplus to 0.6 billion Canadian dollars. The US trade balance shrunk to a 4-month low of $64.2 billion in March from $70.6 billion in February. The expectations now is the deficit will again grow to around $75 billion. The Bank of Canada is scheduled to meet on monetary policy this week, with their decision statement released on Wednesday. As expected, the bank kept its overnight rate at 4.5% at its April meeting. Consensus estimates are for another pause this month at 4.5%. The Australian trade balance, which is due on Thursday, showed a surplus for March of $15.27 billion, up from the previously reported $14.15 billion. A dip to $14.4 billion is expected for April. China's annual inflation rate dropped from 0.7% in March to 0.1% in April. May figures due on Friday are forecast to show a slight rise to 0.2% year-on-year, while analysts expect a flat 0% result compared to last month. Also on Friday, Canada releases employment data for May. Analysts predict that the unemployment rate will rise from 5.1% to 5% in April. The boost in part-time employment in April drove the Canadian economy to add 41,000 positions, and the employment change data for this month is expected to show further growth of 40,000 positions. If you would like to read our full outlook, please visit the analysis section on our website. That's all for this week. Happy trading!